How important is it for a general dentist to learn how to place implants, know more about implants? I'm here with my amazing sponsor and president of the AAID, Dr. Matt Young. So thrilled to be talking to him. Matt, if this is the first time people are seeing us, hearing about implants, hearing about the AAID, what's something you'd want them to take away?
Well, implant dentistry is amazing. It's a way to change patients' lives. You can have a patient who's missing one tooth, and that's a game changer for them, whether it's a back tooth or a front tooth. Or you can have somebody who's missing all their teeth. They can't chew properly, eat properly, and you can take them from someone being very insecure and take them to be someone very confident. And if you're a dentist and you want to deliver that quality of care, AAID and implant dentistry is a place for you.
Love it, man. Gratitude's an important theme, and I want to share as a dentist, I've been thanked 0 times for a class two, not 1 ounce of
Yeah.
gratitude. But when someone does come in, even if we think it's not a big deal, missing one tooth, I used to say in my lectures, imagine someone took your premolar out of your mouth right now and you weren't going to get it back until tomorrow. How would that change how you felt about everything? It'd be your smile, your self-esteem. So implant dentistry is really truly changing lives, and it's been a joy for me because there are plenty of things being a dentist that are make you want to cry inside, where people open up conversations like, I just want to let you know I hate the dentist. And I want to say, I just want to let you know you could have kept that in your head. So implant dentistry is a bright spot. Now tell our audience here, it's so important to be part of something where you can learn. I say laugh, feel less alone, get mentorship. When I say the word mentorship in the AID, what does that mean to you?
Well, mentorship is very important. It's how I got to where I am right now. It's having colleagues who support you, guide you, educate you, and keep you going when times get tough. You know, it's not a straight line to success, and there's ups and downs, and you need a mentor to guide you across the way. And I've had that over my career. And if I can give that to other people, then that's great because as you're going through, whether you're trying that class two composite that doesn't get the contact that you just talked about, or a
Yeah.
sensitivity, or an implant that is successful or not, you need people to guide you every step of the way and keep you on track. And that's where AAID is great.
I like to hold this basketball mat to remind me of my failed dreams of playing professional basketball.
Yeah.
Not all dreams come true. You go to this size and this speed, you got to get new dreams, backup dreams. But it represents team to me. And just this morning on the treadmill, I texted Alan, the AAID, and I said, I'm doing a course in Philly. We have some open spots. And he said, I'm away, but I'm going to share it with people. So I think of, I talk about friends in your phone, people that you can text with a question, a concern, a compliment, a celebration. Through your journey through the AID, we'll get to the kind of like how they build their clinical skills and how they do more advanced cases. But just, I say dentists are people too, right? We are people too. Not everyone thinks we're people, but we are people. How has like being part of the AID community, whether it's friendship, whether it's being able to rely on people, refer patients, kind of talk to my audience about that.
Well, there's a lot of parts for education, and you have the main podium, you have classes, and we all say that we learn the most by talking to each other. You go to
Yeah.
the main podium, you see everything, you're like, wow, this is amazing, and AAID included. But then you talk to people like, how do you actually do this in practice? And that's been the most valuable to me. How do you take that back to your practice? How do you deliver it Monday morning to your staff? You're excited. You go to the main podium. You're like, wow, this is awesome. You tell your staff, they're like, well, we're not doing that. But it's
Yeah.
talking to people who actually are doing that and incorporate it into their practice. And this is how they've changed their office and they've changed their practice to develop that. So for me, the camaraderie is the best. And talking to people around the country, not just in your town, but around every state across the whole country about how they're doing it in their office and helping patients in their community. And that's the mentorship. How do you help the people who are coming in to see you, Paul Goodman or Matt Young, for implant dentistry? How can you help me and my family? And that's where the camaraderie is. People talking about how they can do the procedures and help each other. And that's the best part about AAID and how mentorship works.
And people get what you're going through. I mean, I know you're familiar with the term EBITDA, right? The profit that goes to a dental practice without you working in it. And everyone talks about EBITDA. You don't have to know what it is. You just tell people, I'm trying to work on my EBITDA. They'll think you got it going on. But I have another term, Matt. I have it. It's I have another term, and dental nacho stands for SBITA. C-beta, do you know what that means, Matt? I want to explain. Do you know how to measure? Do you know how to measure your S-beta, not your E-beta, your
I
S-beta?
don't know that one.
So it's a term I came up with. And the way you measure it is the number of times you feel like crying inside as a dentist. It's stress building inside towards dental annoyance, right? Towards dental annoyance. And you're someone who has associates and you've owned practices on, been a practice and practicing dentist on both coasts, right? You're a bi-coastal dentist. Tell us, like, when you're part of the AAID, and in terms of like day-to-day stress in your office, whether it's the bright spot of placing an implant and helping a patient and being more profitable, whether it's helping your associates learn how to restore an implant and there's, no cord or challenging scans, kind of tell us how that can help decrease dentist stress.
Well, I've gone to a lot of practice management seminars, and I really don't remember most of them. But I do remember one thing that somebody said was, if somebody's motivated after a conference, they're usually motivated for about a week.
Yeah.
For a dentist, they're usually motivated till 11 a.m. Monday morning.
Yeah.
All the stress comes in. I've always remembered that. So when 11 a.m. Monday morning comes and I'm completely stressed out, I rechannel that. I'm like, all right, I have to get past the average dentist. Average dentist right now is quitting on their practice
Yeah. Yeah.
at 11 a.m. on Monday morning. If I can get to 1 on Monday morning, I'm doing
Yes.
well. And you go through. You have to keep working hard. I love sports analogies. You can hit a 300-yard drive and miss a 2-foot putt,
Yeah.
and that's what everybody remembers. You go in one room and patient says you're amazing. I love what you did. You go to the next room and someone says, you know what? I had pain, I had discomfort, and you have to roll with all those things and make sure everybody is taken care of.
It's an emotional roller coaster. I actually
Yeah,
share, doing dental nachos, and you've known me for a long time. Most people come to dental nachos and they want to learn and they love that it exists. And the compliment to complaint ratio, high compliments to low complaints, right?
yeah.
And it's the opposite in dentistry. And I sometimes I wish HIPAA wasn't a thing because when someone complained in one room, I want to drag Millie from the other room and be like, Millie likes me. Why don't you talk to her? Right. And it's something that's very, no matter how long you do dentistry, it drains you. So when you can rely on an organization, whether it's mentorship, and now I kind of want to shift gears into, I know us dentists, and we like to build our clinical skills. We like to go from placing one implant to an all on X. But you would say, as a mentor and someone who places implants, there's a lot in between one implant and the all on X, right? That journey, there's a lot of steps. Whether it's the mentorship piece, the maxi course piece, the online component, dig into the Nacho plate as how does the AID help you with skills, the stuff dentists like flaps, placing implants, restoring big cases, knowing when to get in trouble. Tell us about that.
There's a lot of parts with it, but you also have to understand with patients, whether you think it's a big procedure or not, most likely that patient thinks it's a big procedure. So for them, they never had an implant. So for them, it's very big. It might be a single implant for you, but for them, it's a huge procedure. So you have to look back at the patient and say this is something significant for them. For AAID, you know, we have main podium like we talked about before. We have hands-on courses. We have cadaver courses, flap design, implant surgery on models. I think that's really what separates us from other organizations is our hands-on approach to these annual meetings. We also have the maxi courses. The maxi courses are a great way to hone in your skills. I was probably about 2 or 3 years out of residency program. We did a residency program in Philadelphia, same program,
Yeah,
Albert Einstein Medical Center, awesome.
yeah, I know. Amazing.
Surgically based program, working in the ICU, emergency room, cellulitis patients. They walk in
Yeah,
at 8 o'clock in the morning, they have a swelling like this. It takes them
yeah,
2 hours to triage. They're like this and then
yeah,
like this, and
yeah.
get a great experience. But you know, I needed something to hone in all these things that I was learning. And for me, a maxi course is a great thing because it's a 3 hour, 300-hour training program. Outside of the education, you reset your mind. You say, this is what I want to learn. This is how I want to change the way I practice. Rather than going, 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 this is the direction I'm going to take.
Yeah,
And
I love what you're saying. I want to add in, I know we're both very big fans of Seinfeld, and in one of his stand-up, he goes, "You have to solve every problem in the shower yourself, right?" And I think it's kind of a funny thing, right? Like, I don't know, no soap, there's a problem. And you think about it, that's a true. And when you're a dentist, you have to solve every problem in your operatory yourself. Doesn't mean that there's not associates there, but if you're doing something like implant dentistry, having that maxi course experience of not knowing when things are going well, how to troubleshoot. I think that's what, and it's responsible, causes dentists not to add skills. But it sounds like this maxi course experience for people who've gone through it, they leave with the skill set to be able to solve these problems in their operatory. Am I on the right track with that?
absolutely, you wind up with a skill set, but you also wind up with a network. In the maxi, I lecture at a lot of maxi courses. I've taken maxi courses. The best maxi courses I've seen are during lunchtime. The people taking the maxi course have their own laptops up and are
Yeah,
presenting their cases to everybody else. So there's like a side lecture coming in outside of the maxi
that's
course
great.
curriculum, and then everybody's talking outside of the maxi course, and that's really where everything really comes together, and that's where really the benefit of the practice is, because now you're talking to people, you have the confidence to say, hey, this happened to me today, or this is happening right now.
Yeah.
Who,
You
who
should
can I
probably know I
call?
like it. When I walk around Philadelphia, Matt, sometimes they have like a pop-up margarita stand, and I go, wow, it's a pop-up lecture outside of the lecture, right?
It's a pop-up lecture. They sometimes they'll have like these like the video streams, and they're projecting on a
Yeah.
wall, and I'm like, and there's like 15 people around out of like 30 in the course, and they're talking like, that's what it is. That's what you want to be in. You know, you can get a lot of education online. We have implant education online at AAID through our Implant Institute, but there's no substitute for people talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do this? What is going on here? Like, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going crazy. Staff, this person
Yeah.
left, my associate left, my office manager is killing me.
Yeah.
And like, how do you get through these times? And it's really through talking to each other. In my opinion, there's no other way around it. Like, you can't get something like that online.
Yeah, but I always made this joke, when we had our first child, my awesome wife went to one of those like, mom support groups, right? It was magical, right? Crying, laughing. Is this happening to your babies? And I mean, it was and she's friends with these moms, 10 years later. But like it's like a support group for practice owners because your
Yeah,
practice owner behaves like a wild 4-year-old, I say, 50% awesome, 50% annoying, 100% exhausting. And if you don't
yeah.
have somebody to say, hey, is this happening to you too? So I love this. Now, as we kind of start to wrap up, if we kind of take our audience, whether they're watching here live or whether like, what are some good next steps? If they go to the AAID, we'll put is AI, what's the best website for them to go and visit?
Yeah, AAID.com is a great place to start. From there you can register to be a member. You can also call. You can also call me, Matt Young, AAID, and get a hold of me. Dr. Goodman will give you in
Yeah, yeah,
touch.
okay. And taking the first step, I mean, I am so grateful that I was exposed to implant dentistry at Einstein where we went. It was transformative for my career. I always found that traditional arts and crafts dentistry was very frustrating to me. I found it unpredictable. I found it like people did, nicest part about placing a dental implant is no one complains about the color of their dental implant in the bone. And I say that with as a joke and also just a joy, right? Because you do a lot of other types of dentistry. I was just talking with my friend last night at dinner, who's a advanced dentist here working on a big cosmetic case, and there's a lot of emotional energy around them. And when you can have a procedure where I feel like, it's predictable, and if it's not predictable, you know how to troubleshoot it. It's just so key. And you guys, these mentorship stories you talk about, is the AID just for new dentists, or do you also have dentists 10, 20 years in their career starting to learn how to place implants?
Yeah, we have both. When you say newer experienced dentists, one story comes to mind is a dentist who went through our training course is Jeff Peterson. He's about 60 years old at the time. He very, very successful general practice, extracting teeth, restorative, referring out all implants. And he wanted to learn how to place implants because he said his patients keep asking him, like, why don't you place implants? So he went through the course. He's like, I just want to learn the basic implant. So we went through everything, and we got to sinus lifts. He's like, I'll never do a sinus lift. I don't want to hear this. I said, just listen to this part. So, listen to the sinus lift part. He started placing implants. I would go to his office and help him place, and then he started placing implants. And I said, you don't really need me anymore. You're doing all these procedures. And at the same time, his son was starting to look at dental schools, and his son applied and got into Tufts Dental School.
Oh, cool.
And his father said, "You're going to go through dental school, but learn about implants." So his son going through Tufts Dental School had a different perspective. He's like, I want to learn general dentistry and I want to learn implants. So he
Yeah.
started running implant programs, and he brought me
Oh,
to Tufts to lecture at Tufts for implants. And he got back to his Sonoma, which is in Northern California, outside of San Francisco and Marin. And the two of them started placing more and more implants and servicing the patients in their community. And it was a whole game changer for them. And to see a 60-year-old dentist who had never placed
yeah.
implants now placing a ton, and then encouraging his son, who's starting dental school, that this is how a general dentist is going to succeed, is by doing general dentistry with implants as a part of it. I just, it's amazing for me.
I love that. That's true circle of dentistry life in the best way. And I love that, implants can be so addictive that they say, I only want to place a single tooth implant. I only want to do science lifts. And I've had the pleasure of creating a spark in people who take that and they go all the way to the all on X's and start teaching people. Well, Matt, thanks for being an awesome friend. Appreciate you guys sponsoring us. We do some great things with the AID. Go to AID.com to check out all the awesomeness they have going on. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you to Nachos.